So, the DCU's Green Lantern Hal Jordan is Josh Brolin? Well, that's the rumor. Yes, the rumor, originally from Nexus Point News. Never heard of them, but it's now been corroborated, however you want to put it, from Jeff Snyder. He's a pretty standard scooper, revealing that Josh Brolin may have been offered the role of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, in the DCU, which would be the series between featuring Hal Jordan and John Stewart as buddy cops solving a mystery that begins a longer overall story throughout the DCU narrative. Yeah, and their inspiration comes from True Detective. I'm assuming the first season, not the other seasons that no one cares about. But immediately, well, what's the problem here? The reason for moving on from the DC EU cast was, and specifically when it concerns Henry Cavill, was he was too old for the role now. He wrote a Superman movie that's a much younger Superman and all that sort of thing. I never really bought that. I assumed that it had more to do with the pay and that younger actors would be cheaper. But Josh Brolin has been around a while, and there's a certain amount of pay for him. However, this would be for a streaming series, so perhaps it's a little different that way. There's also the problems that a lot of people is still within Warner Brothers, even though it's a new regime that took it over and everything, but you still got to work with a lot of people left behind. Probably still have axe to grind against Henry Cavill. So certain things of that nature more than likely played a role in it. But as far as just, he was too old for the role, don't really buy that, you know. So that's the first thing. The overall deal of having a man of his, I think he's pushing 60 now, maybe, something like that, in the role here, and how to fit it in the overall narrative of the DC universe, with a much younger Superman, and apparently like Batman's going to be much older because he's already going to have his, Damian Wayne, and that's the version they're going with. It's very odd. So the thing about this, and this comes up a time or two, where a lot of these ideas for these films and shows are not all that original. Long rumored of a Green Lantern feature film featuring Hal Jordan and John Stewart had been rumored for quite a while. And, of course, the take on it, now that one was going to be in outer space. This one will be earthbound because, it's cheaper. But nevertheless, that was the approach, and you would have an older Hal Jordan mentoring a young new recruit, John Stewart, and that would be the relationship going forward for whatever the antagonist they have to go up against. So that apparently is still in play as to what the problem they got to deal with. It probably has changed, and some other rumors that they might be borrowing from the likes of New Frontier that Darwin Cook did, where the center is this long gestating evil presence on the earth and that sort of thing. That maybe that's what the Lanterns go up against. And but the thing of it was, the apparent deal with the feature film approach was that Hal Jordan would die at the end, or at the very least disappear and presumed dead, or something like that. And one of the things is that they were chasing Tom Cruise to play the Hal Jordan role, but that he kind of balked at the idea of the character dying. I mean, that was the rumor. How much of that is true or not, but I'm thinking the premise, certainly, of buddy cop stuff and Hal Jordan as a mentor. That is true. And they just sort of dust it off, change it around here and there. And okay, yeah, they're space cops, but they got to come back to Earth because there's something weird going on there, and they got to figure it out. But might be likely that Josh Brolin will come in and do this series, and then his character dies, hopefully heroically, if they're going to give him a send-off like that. And then Jon Stewart goes on to be the main Green Lantern. And that was the case from the original idea as well, that had the DCEU continued and they had gotten to their Green Lantern film, then yes, that was, he would have been the Green Lantern of the Justice League. So that's probably still in play. It's just, a very different version than what might have been. So, it's all over the place. There's a lot about Hal Jordan and his involvement with Justice League and interacting with the likes of Superman and Batman and all that. You won't get any of it, apparently, in this approach for him to take his leave at the end of that series. It would appear to be the case. Now, granted, a lot of people's introduction to Justice League was the 90s animated series, which was really good. But they just had Jon Stewart in there, and he's the great Green Lantern of Justice League. And so maybe they figure, hey, a lot of people will just see it, that lineup, as that guy. They already got Hawkgirl going to be in the Superman movie, although that's not the same Hawkgirl. She reincarnates in what? This is the Kendra version of Hawkgirl. You know why. So maybe that's the deal. That's the setup. Should this prove successful, we'll have to see. But anyway, it did stipulate he is offered the role if he wants it. It's his. And but this will be the third comic book role that I'm calling. Obviously Thanos, and then Cable. Jeez, man, I blank on this stuff in Deadpool 2. So, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm wondering if he's still got to have time to reprise Cable for the Secret War shenanigans because they want all the players to show up and do the Spider-Man thing again. And then have him meet Thanos. Yeah. Alternate universe Thanos. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. So, maybe he'll take it, maybe he won't. But nevertheless, even if he doesn't, it's going to be a guy in his neck of the woods of age playing Hal Jordan. And I think it's a one-and-done role for the Max series. Or not, but I'm thinking that's the direction they're going.